Hey everybody, so in today's video I want to talk to you about my Pentax 6.7 and why I think it's a really good option for anyone looking to shoot medium format film. And then also sort of the lenses that I have for it, any accessories or things that I quite like. So yeah, here we go. So one of the things I really like about this camera, or when I'm using this camera, is it's really fast. It's super easy to use. It's just like using a 35mm SLR. It's nice, really quick to maneuver around with, focus and do anything you want, which is really versatile when you're on a shoot. If you're doing a proper shoot or anything like that and you want to shoot some film, this is super crucial because it just allows you to work faster, better, and yeah, I've used a few cameras where you look through the ground glass. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but this, you can just pick it straight up and then up to the eye, and it's just a regular SLR, so that's really nice. One of the things I think you must get if you buy this camera is one of these little plastic grips. I can't remember, well, I got mine off eBay. I'll try to find the link to put in the description for it, but it cost me about $25 or $30. And honestly, it's probably one of the best things that I've ever got for this camera. I had one before, and I had the wood grip, which comes off the side here. It's good and it's bad. I don't particularly like it. It's great if you just want to walk around and hold the camera, but in terms of practicality, I don't really find any. It's sort of on the left-hand side, which is a bit weird because you can't quite focus when you're holding it. You need to get like a focus, it's like a little thing which comes off your lens, which helps you be able to focus with your fingers from a distance. But apart from that as well, it makes it quite difficult to put into bags. If you have a normal camera bag with dividers, having that grip on there sticking out does make it just that extra bit bigger and quite hard to put in. So I definitely recommend one of these plastic grips you put on the side. They're just 3D printed, super easy. They just go on the lugs and then you just put some screws in and good to go. It sits really nice. It's a little bit annoying going from this to getting the shutter, but just in terms of walking around, I can easily handhold this all day and just sort of do whatever I need to. I've just got a strap on the side as well when I'm throwing it over my shoulder if I want to shoot in the other things. Yeah, so this camera has up to 1/1000th of a second shutter speed, which is a big advantage over a lot of other medium format cameras. A lot only go up to sort of 1/500th. So it's not too much, it's just the one stop, but it's really good because these lenses that come with it are very fast. So the first lens, which I have here on the camera, is the 105mm f2.4. It comes out to roughly the equivalent of a 52mm, I think, or just over 50mm in 35mm terms. But this lens is absolutely insane. If you don't own this lens and you have this camera, what are you doing? It is just one of the most beautiful and great lenses. I'll throw some images up at the end of this to show like just how much you can blow out the background and just how interesting it makes really boring portraits. I like to shoot a lot of just straight on, vertical, right down the barrel of the gun, sort of upper body, half sort of just like a slightly backed out headshot. And this lens, it just makes them go from kind of boring to really interesting. So I'll throw some of those up at the end of the video, as well as a lot of other photos that I've taken with this camera. It's like one of my favorite cameras to take photos with. Yeah, so it's all right for landscapes. You can get a ground glass ground glass viewfinder for it if that's what you want, which would be really nice for landscapes if you just want to do your sort of standard horizontal landscapes. That would be really nice, but I quite like the metered prism. That's another thing, it has a metered prism, or which you can get for it, which is super convenient because it allows you to just sort of really run and gun with this camera. You don't have to worry about external light meters. It's not the most accurate meter. It's like a really big sort of matrix, so it just looks at the whole scene and goes, whatever the highlights are, that's it. But if you just point it to the shadows, if you're shooting color negative, which I mainly shoot on medium format, you're pretty much good to go. You've got that really big latitude, and so the accuracy of the meter isn't too important. If you're shooting black and white, I would recommend you take your time to meter properly, or buy an incident meter or something like that. I don't have one, but I'm really looking at buying one just because I want to do a bit more black and white sort of portrait work. I find that to be the most interesting, and a nice incident meter would make a big difference with that. Another really good thing about this camera is there's a lot of good, fast, interesting lenses, which are really nice. So one of the other lenses that I have here is the 150mm f2.8, which is roughly the equivalent of a 85 or an 80mm lens in 35mm terms. This is really nice, and at 2.8 at 150mm, this thing blows out the background really nice. It has great bokeh. It's just a really interesting lens if you want to shoot any portraits, headshots, anything like that. Good in a pinch as well if you want to shoot sort of a longer, or you want a longer lens for landscapes. Mine is a little bit broken at the moment. It does not stop the whole way down, so the aperture is only at 2.8. I'll probably see if I can get it fixed. If it's expensive, I won't bother because I mainly want this for a portrait lens. But yeah, another really good lens. There's also a 165 2.8. There's a 90mm 2.8, which I think is a leaf shutter lens, which would be very important, or if you want to shoot anything in studio, because this camera has terrible flash sync, which is something I'll talk about now. So this camera only syncs up at 1/30th of a second, I believe, for the shutter sync with flash, which is a little bit annoying because I wish I could shoot this in the studio here. It would be super nice just to be able to shoot a lot of stuff here. It's not the end of the world, but it is something that I would like to be able to do eventually. I like to shoot a little bit of film in the studio every now and again. It's kind of fun, a little bit different. But I'll have to either look at the 90mm f2.8, which I think I'm 90% sure is a leaf shutter lens, which would be super crucial, or would come in super clutch for doing that sort of stuff. But yeah, there's also a lot of other wide lenses. You've got a 55, f3.5 and f4 version, which I'm looking at buying soon for doing a bit more landscape sort of stuff. Probably the f4, I think. It's a little bit, they made a few more of them. It's a little bit sharper. I think it's a little bit better. But yeah, so in general, this is a really good, really fast, easy to work with, quick, medium format option. And just the lenses produce just some great results. This 105mm, as I said before, is just absolutely magical. There is just nothing like it. People often complain about the weight of this camera. It is a big camera, unless you're going to get something like a Mamiya 7. Most of your other medium format options are quite heavy, except for maybe TLRs. TLRs are pretty light. The Yashica Matte 124G, which I have as well, is super light. But yeah, 6x7, it's great for printing. I've done a few prints with this, and they're not too large, but they come out really nice. I got just some big drum scans of it. They turn out just beautifully. But yeah, this is an absolutely stunning camera, and I definitely would recommend buying it if you're looking at moving into the medium format range. Mine is the Pentax 6.7, not the 6x7. So this is a sort of later model. There was the 6x7, then the 6x7 mirror lockup, and then the 6.7, and then the 6.7 II. So this is the sort of the third iteration of this camera. It cost me about 1,200 Aussie dollars with the lens, the metered prism, and the strap, but the strap's not really important. And I think that's about around 800, maybe 900 US dollars. So not too bad for 6x7. There are definitely cheaper options if you just want to get into medium format. But in the 6x7 world, it's pretty affordable. And there's a few different ones you can get. The first 6x7 does not have mirror lockup, which is pretty crucial if you want to do anything in the way of landscapes. Recently, I've been trying to do a few more. Stop the lens down, go out and shoot at about 1/4 of a second, 1/8 of a second, and you really need that mirror lockup. Without that, you'll get a lot of camera shake because the mirror in here is just so massive. Even with the RB and the RZ 6.7s, they all have really big mirrors. So a lot of medium format cameras that aren't sort of leaf shutter or aren't rangefinder style and TLRs will have a bit of shutter shake because the mirrors in these things are so big. I'll just show you it, and I'll give you a sort of sound example. But obviously that's the mirror there, the size of a 6x7 negative, and there's a little trick you can do with this camera to get it to shoot without any film in there. So here you go. This is at 1/1000th of a second. So as you can see, quite loud, quite a big mirror slap. And this is down at say 1/30th of a second. So this is not a discrete camera. So not very good if you're trying to do medium format, sort of semi-street photography, getting sort of people in the scenes, things like that, and you want to be close by. But I mean, that's not really the purpose of this camera. It's sort of good for documentary photography, landscapes, sort of portraits, things like that, where you just want that extra quality and that magic of the medium format lens. But yeah, a really great camera. I would highly recommend anyone to buy it if they're looking for a 6x7 option. The one thing that I do think that the Mamiya RZ67s and the RB67s have over this, because they're a similar price point, similar weight, similar size, similar style, is that they're bellows focused and they can focus just a little bit closer, which is something that I want because I think it gives you that ability to take slightly more interesting shots without needing a longer sort of lens. This only focuses down to about 1 meter. It's good. It's not the best. I wish I could get a bit closer, sort of around 1/2 meter to 30 centimeters. That sort of range would be absolutely perfect for this lens and this camera, but unfortunately you can't. But apart from that, there's not really too many things that I have to fault this camera on. It's really good, really nice, super convenient, fast, easy. You just put it in the camera bag, you don't have to worry, you can just go take photos. If you're gonna be doing some sort of lower light stuff, definitely bring a tripod. Sort of 1/60th of a second, you can shoot it in a pinch, but I mean, it does get a little bit shaky because of the mirror slap. I would definitely recommend you go sort of on a tripod and lock the mirror up if you want thinking about shooting around that sort of area. But yeah, so anyway, I will throw some of my favorite photos I've taken so far with this camera and this 105 lens, and there's a few from the 150. And I hope you enjoy it. I'm also making a video on the 150mm lens, which will come out just after this one. So there'll be more photos from that lens and sort of more information about it and what I prefer about it, the size, the weight, and other things like that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I look forward to hearing any comments or reading any comments that you have about this camera. All right, bye.